Fine.
Yeah, Baruch is here.
Oh, hi, Baruch.
But Ron is here. What? Ron is here. Oh, Ron is here.
Ron is here.
Listen, David Abinay, if you want to stop by my house after the shoot, you can pick up the musk. I couldn't get there tonight.
Okay, I will, believe it or. But my phone isn't working, so I'm just gonna show up.
Okay, just hang on the door.
All right.
As long as it's before 11:45, it should be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on mute here.
All right, recording.
Okay, you have it. So we discuss the principle of Chayzer and Meir quite extensively. And what is this principle? There has to be a tzimtzum in the oil. That also we discussed quite extensively. In order to be able to relate to world, there has to be a very fundamental change in the oil. The oil, the principle of oil means oil means light. There's a fundamental difference between how you relate to things that you see through light, or how you relate to things by investigating them in the other way, by touch, by feel, by any other effects. Say, for example, as we always speak, a table. In everything, there are, in the world, there are two elements. There's its presence and its function. A table, its presence is the wood and the structure of the wood. Its weight, and so forth. Its function is in a totally different category. As we mentioned all the time, that the function of a table is not even physical. It's a human inspired element to sit around the table. A table denotes a real human spirit. So that when you encounter a table by a touch, these two categories are very, very distinct. Because in fact, the touch doesn't even tell you about its significance and its spirit. Touch tells you about its physical presence. And then you have to deduce and project and so forth what this can be used for. And even then, it seems like an add-on. In other words, there is a mitzvah on the table, the physical mitzvahs, and then, okay, I figure out the mitzvahs. I can use it this way, I can use it that way. It's not a fundamental reality to it. And sight, on the other hand, the entire presence of the table is observed, is seen simultaneously as one thing. And it is viewed from a different perspective completely, where its structure and its physicality, its size and its weight is totally insignificant, because you're seeing it from a completely different perspective. You're seeing it from a human perspective. As I said, you see the Malchus element. It's a completely different aspect. Oir. This is what Chassidus is talking about. Oir. Oir means, what is the reality of an Indian? We're talking about the oil hashayach al ha'olamus, but it's a world. World is not oil. World is metzius, as we discussed this morning. There is oil in the world, and this oil is what gives it a presence and sustains it. On a slightly higher level, this is like a living entity. A living entity. It also has a structure, has a body and so forth. But what really gives it a presence, and what gives it a lasting quality, what maintains it, what restores its energy, is the life element, not the body. This is what gives it a lasting presence. To take it on a lower level, here we have to have a little bit of a, so to speak, of a projection, but nonetheless it is clear if we really put our minds to it. A table occupies this place, not because it grabbed this place and it belongs to it and that's it, you can't move it. No. The table owns this place because of its ruchnistic significance. If not for that, it would be out of here in a moment. And because of its ruchnistic significance, even if its body should break, it will be replaced or restored. The table will not cease to be, just because something broke. If it broke, we'll get a carpenter and fix it. Because the whole structure is totally subservient to its meaning, to its spirit, to the oir. This is the meaning oir hashayach ha'olamus. The real creation of the world is not the structural body. It is that which gives it the neshama and sustenance. Now, as we learned and we discussed, this oil, any oil, originates from a godly oil, the divine oil. Just as, for example, as we spoke about the table, which has a human spirit to it, but this human spirit is rooted in the human neshama. In the human emotion, the human intellect, and then all the way up to the neshama itself. The way this oil is in the neshama, and the way it manifests subsequently in a table that can assume a certain physical form is worlds apart. In order that the neshama should provide chayus, inspiration for a table, the chayus of the neshama has to be first translated in what's called Ayin Rotz, and then it has to be translated in Seichel, in Chabad, and then you have to have translated in Midas and Chochmah, in Chagas and Chagmor, and then it has to be translated in Machshava Dibur Maisa, and then you can assume this form. In order for it to find this process of translation, so to speak, from the oil hanefesh, from the way it is in Echais hanefesh, all the way to any stage, as to each stage as it goes, this is called a tzimtzum. You have to reduce the oil, the brightness of the oil. And in reducing the brightness of the oil, you find an element in the oil where it can now relate to a lower level than the initial level, the way it is in the nefesh. As we say all the time, the nefesh does not know what a physical table is. There is no way that it can know what it is. Just as we spoke about, Baal Shem Tov says, "Mokim shenitzoyne shel odom derotz." The rotz not nefesh. Rotz is not nefesh itself. Mokim shenitzoyne shel odom shom hu. The will of the person, that's where he is. It cannot. The rotz cannot even relate directly to the principle. Wait a second, you're in the world. You don't automatically transplant yourself from one place to another. Any change of location takes effort, takes time, takes means to get there. Doesn't automatically happen. On the level of the nefesh, of the rotzen, this thing happens automatically. The rotzen is the force that inspires the movement that we spoke about. But in order that it should be translated in the movement, it has to go to a tzimtzum, where the rotzen does not state, I want, but the rotzen states its want in a much more worldly form. That we have to discuss the principle of a mokum shodom reitzer, but we can readily understand this is a simple and a separate thing which we can hardly get in now. Perhaps a little bit we can get into it. Are you with me? The term b'mokem she'odem rof echam she'rotzen she'odem roitze shomhu. What is the meaning of the word b'mokoim in this context, in this sentence? Mokim she'odem roitze shomhu. Like we say, I want to be in 770. What does that mean? I want to be in 770 Eastern Parkway in Brooklyn. What does the word b'mokoim in that context mean? It means a neshama element. It doesn't even know that it has to do with Brooklyn, New York, 770 is the Parkway. Doesn't know such thing. The word mokoy has a completely different meaning in that context. To translate from that level to the point where mokoy means 770 Eastern Parkway, which will then require the whole mechanism, the whole means of getting there from this place to the other place, and would justify all the activities involved. It has to go through a tzimtzum. You're actually speaking about the physical place. In order to relate to a physical place, the word mokim has to be retranslated. This is the tzimtzum. The tzimtzum withdraws the oir, the way it is, the oir hanefesh, the oir leki. And as we said, it leaves Arishima, and the Kudz Arishima, and then, in order to facilitate a full development of the effect of the tzimtzum, that now becomes worldly, not godly, and not neshamanik, then it has to be what's called choizer umeir. In other words, even though you had to go to a tzimtzum and you had we translate the whole mitzvah of mokoim. Mokoim does not mean a state of being in a spiritually. Mokoim means a physical place. In order to develop that concept in a full worldly presence, it has to be, you have to refer back to the essential, to the initial spirit behind it. Otherwise, you would stay just the way it is. Because it would be devoid of real spirit. It would not be an oil, it would just be a place in the world. In order to identify that place, correlate it to what is understanding stand for. Not just a place on the planet, but what does it stand for? Why it's so attractive about it, and so forth. For that, you have to refer back to the initial rotzeh that started the whole process. This is what's called Choser Umeir. And the principle that the Rebbe is explaining over here in the Choser Umeir is that despite the fact that there is a tzimtzum, it stays connected. It's on dovuk. It stays connected to its source. Because it stays connected to its source, that's why the source is then able to be drawn back and to illuminate this whole path and bring oil into the entire Seder's nostrils. All right. So now we learn inside. We started this morning. The line begins Shechozer Umeir Ukinoida beMoshol de Mashpia Mekabel. As we know from the Moshol of Mashpia Mekabel. Mashpia Mekabel means somebody who is bestowing seichel, called Mashpia. And Mekabel means the one who receives the seichel. And the principle of Mashpia, why is it called Mashpia, not Molamed? Because Molamed means that he is teaching him something that he is up to, he's readily able to learn. He's only teaching him what he doesn't know. But effectively, his capability of knowing it is on the ready. That's a Melamed. Pardon me. Mashpia is a different thing. He actually grants him, he actually gives him the means by which to get the seichel. Mashpia is supposed to, so to speak, raise the Makabel, open up his kelim, so that he would actually be able to absorb and receive the seichel. So in the case of the Mashpia or Makabel, so we know that the seichel ha-mashpia, that the seichel of the mashpia who nivdul bi'erech legaber min ha-makabel is totally distinct. Nivdal means separate completely, remote from the makabel, which means that the way this mashpia thinks and the way the makabel thinks, there is absolutely no similarity between them. As for example, in our illustration here, when I say 770, what is a mashpia? Normally, what's Achos say 770, and what does a street person hear at 770? I want to go to 770 Essen Parkway. What does it mean? What does it mean to a chosid? What does it mean to somebody who doesn't know what it's all about? Even if you explain it to him, you wouldn't understand. You only know 770 Eastern Parkway. A place in the world, a physical place in the world. So the seichel of the mashpia, the seichel of the makabel, are vastly apart. And thus it is imperative sheyalim oil sichloi beyatzmai, that the mashpia should conceal the light of his seichel be'atzmai within himself, this yalim or sichel bi'atzmoi means that he is malim the oy seichel not from the makam, from himself. Even internal to himself, he is malim the oy seichel. Ki'ilu loy hiskil. He has to change his mental status. Ki'ilu loy hiskil, as if he never really understood this. So this is a phenomenal union. The thing that he is Kilul Hiskil does not, it's not implying that he forgot the seichel. It's not a question of forgetting.
He makes as if it's not there. He removes his attention from it.
As if he never understood this concept. And the reason he didn't understand the concept, because he just didn't understand it. What kind of concept is it? What kind of idea is this? That's been Kilo Hiski. Just like the Talmud. He reduces himself to the level of the Talmud. Because if not for that, there's no communication between them.
Yep.
Going back to our 770 illustration. Kilo Hiskil means that he also doesn't have 770 as a seichel concept. 770 is an address on a Brooklyn street. That which the Talmud knows. Only if the mashpia steps down to this level of, to the Talmud's level of viewing things, can he then begin to develop the principle. You should understand that there are places in the world where they teach Torah, where there is Rebbes, there's all kinds of different Avedas, and these places are dedicated for those kind of activities, and as a result of that, they change their whole status, and therefore the significance of these places is no longer an address or an area, physical area, but a spiritual principle. But if he cannot correlate his thinking to the Talmud's thinking, the mashpia, he doesn't care for the physical thing. He's completely into his own world. He won't be able to communicate to the mashpia, to the makab. Because again, we're staying on a simple him 770 represents the people that are there, not the place where it is, and the activities that are taking place there. The Makabel, he doesn't know of such thing. He knows a place, 770 is a place, an address in Brooklyn, New York.
Rabbi Paltiel?
Yeah.
What is the where does a father and a child fit in?
But we're talking about Mashpia Makabel.
You contrasted before to a teacher and a student, so I'm wondering if it's
All right,
more
but
like
let's first finish this. So they are in two different worlds completely. And in order for the mashpia to be mashpia seichel to the makabel, he has to stoop down, completely eliminate from his consciousness the seichel that he is involved in. And then he will be able to communicate and talk to the makabel.
Totally eliminates.
I want to actually come down a notch and speak this mashal at an even a lower level. I think there we'll be able to see it even better. The Gemara tells us that to appreciate the value of real estate, one has to be a fully mature person, a minimum of 20 years old. Then he can develop more and more. But prior to that, his interest is in a functional level, in a monetary value. Does not appreciate the significance of real estate. The Gemara says a child who inherits, let's say, a property, we don't let him sell this property until he matures. Why? Because he doesn't really appreciate the value of this property. He gets $1,000. Then I can appreciate that I know what it is. I have a piece of land. What is that about? How's it taste? You know what I'm saying? So in order for this child to grow, to appreciate that this is not just a piece of land, this is what's called real estate. This is a building block of the world. And its value is way beyond its monetary assessment. Monetary, there's no estimation of value to land, halachically. Because money is a fluid entity, comes and goes, and this is something which is lasting. It's a different category. So that in order for coming back maybe Baruch to your question of a father and son, so the father wants to explain to his son that this piece of land, which you're going to, if it's going to be yours at one time, cherish it. Don't think that its monetary value is all that you get, all that you have. I want you to take this land, I want you to develop it, and so forth and so on. In order to do that, he has to understand the child's mentality. To an adult person, you have to explain what real estate is. On the contrary, $1,000 he translates into real estate. How much land can I buy with it? So that he has to Imalim the oil. This is the oil seichel. I said before, the oil. This is not a tangible principle. This is an idea of reality, and he has to be malim this oil. Kilo he's as if he doesn't understand it, and start developing his thinking from scratch. If he starts developing his thinking from scratch, as the Rebbe is going to explain a few more lines, he will come to it to appreciate the value of real estate. But now he's come to it from a mata l'mayla. He will take the Talmud along with him. Because even though you with me?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, developing from scratch. It would seem like either it's not really from scratch or it's a very risky undertaking.
That's why he is a mashpia. He is a fully developed, he is a mature person. The fact that he has a higher understanding does not eliminate the lower understanding. Except he has to go down to a lower understanding and bring it up to the higher understanding.
This that he's going down to the lower understanding, is this like going back? I mean, once upon a time, he had to go through this himself. He also did that.
That's true, except once he's a fully mature person, he does not think in terms of how the lower level reaches the higher level. He recognizes the higher level directly.
In other words, he may have once gone through this, but he's beyond that now.
Totally. He can't even understand how you don't understand it.
Right, and how does he know
He's
how to
not going
find his way
back
back?
to remember how he once thought about it.
No, this is not what it's about. This is not what it's about. We are using a very mundane, low-level illustration, but it gives us a handle on the principle.
But it is very difficult to understand how he goes through this process of, as if we're, forgetting about it and approaching it from the perspective of the.
My dear friend, he's a banker. What is real estate to a banker? Money. He's a banker. His business is in banking. What's real estate to him? Real estate to him is a completely different thing. Real estate to him is that which secures the money. It's not even real estate in the real sense of the word. Are we getting a lesson in
Right, so again, he leaves where he's at, he starts from scratch, and again, on what basis does he,
It's a reality. It's a reality. The fact that real estate is valued is not an imaginary thing. It's real. Except your seichel has to grow up to it.
let's take, somebody who knows the way, and then they go and they throw away their compass, and they go back into the woods, and they go on a cloudy night. So how they're going to come out, on what basis? Just starting from scratch.
No. You're talking a different. It's not a correct illustration. We're not talking about. It's one thing I said. We're not talking about knowledge. We're talking about seichel, hashpos seichel. I'm not talking about teaching, molamed. That's really the difference between molamed and mashpia.
Yes, it's not.
You know the roots.
Yeah, it's not.
So you forgot about the roots. How are you going to find them?
It's not a matter of the information.
Not a matter of information.
It is a matter of the paradigm.
It's a matter of your sense of value.
And he scratches that. He says, "Forget that. I'm going to go to where the Talmud. I'm going to go down to the mushba." Now,
he scratches the understanding, the conscious realization that the value of real estate is in a different category than the value of money. But value he still has. He's still an adult person. From that he brings on what's a value. So what's valuable?
so it's kind of mufshat. But he maintains an orientation. He doesn't.
Who should we give a knas to? We ready to deal with real estate? Okay, let's go on a little bit further. As if he had not really come to this understanding. And as a result of that, nimtzo boy is found by him the seichel element oir that can relate to the makabel. But the makabel is a level. And now he explains. Dim heyoisoi. Okay, this is like a couple of lines would put this whole thing in perspective. Dim heyoisoi hisalmus hu. That although the hisalmus, that this concealment is ki'ilu lo yiskil eza seichel, as if he never understood the particular seichel. But still, the yoisei oimed be'oisei inyan. The yoisei oimed be'oisei inyan, being that he stands in that inyan. What does that mean? In our mashal, he's a real person, he's a mature person. He knows what value is. Or he doesn't know what value, but he knows that such thing as value exists. It's not a child.
Mm-hmm.
Value,
Now,
you mean beyond monetary value, you mean?
value in general.
In general.
Now he has to apply that term to various objects. Candies, money, shoes, and real estate. And then he applies it in the proper way. You say, oh, because initially when he did understand it, it wasn't a seichel thing. It wasn't something that is presented to him through logical presentation. This is a seichel, this is a maturity element. It's an insight.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I just want to clarify. The value means like beyond experiential value, right? Not just what it does to him, but just rather some kind of objective value. That's what it means.
Well, you tell me. We say that a child up to the age of 20 cannot appreciate real estate. Why not?
Well, you explained it.
Yeah. So it's not a question of what the value is. In other words, he does not appreciate value for its own sake.
Objective. That's what they call.
Yeah, I'm saying we don't need to
Terms.
to elaborate on this.
Okay.
This was
We
in
have
the
to
days of the Gemara.
stay
Today
at
it's
the
a
seichel level.
child to the age of 30.
What?
I said that was in the days of the Gemara. Today it's maybe to the age of 30 or 35.
You're be very, very kind and generous.
Yeah, right. That's true.
Oh, you think so because we don't, you're saying we don't, nobody has this appreciation. They lost it completely, you're saying.
This remade also Indian. He remained standing in on this terrain, yet he made as if ki'ilu lo hiskil klal.
He is, okay, here's the principle in this, AyinBase Indian. Okay, this is very interesting words. AyinBase Indian means like this. If a person understands a certain seichel, like the seichel we're talking about here, the value of real estate, it is not something that he understands under real estate. It doesn't begin with the real estate. It doesn't begin with the arguments of comparing real estate to money. It starts from the point where he has matured. He's not drawn to quick satisfaction. You understand what I'm saying? People have money. I had I was talking to a couple over here. The man doesn't have a penny. He doesn't anything. He just lost $5,000 in gambling. So what happened? My parents bailed me out. So this is lacking the principles of intellect. You understand? Not the seichel. He's saying that he is a healthy person and he is a mature person. He has the principle for intellect, but he hasn't yet developed it. He didn't understand for this in this particular instance.
So this is the low skill cloud. He goes into as if we haven't developed this topic at all.
That's it. This
So
topic, but the principle
Right.
is still.
The principles remain. The foundation remains.
That's right.
Okay.
It's like he never looked at this topic.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't look at the way that he learned it, though, does he?
No, that's what we discussed before. It has to come from something much more fundamental, much more fundamentally human, not something that you experienced. That's not, you don't need much fear for that.
Sorry, I missed it. You said it has
It
to
has
come.
to come. The seichel has to be based. Seichel is based on, they said, on on qualities that are higher than seichel. The seichel is based on just on logical seichel. It's not. That's called limud. That's hashpor.
Is this awareness connected the original or? Is that the thing that comes like the or, the chazer and mayor?
Yes. That's right. It's a fundamental reality that he is aware of. That enables him to assign values to various things in our little bit emotion.
I'm sorry again. I'm sorry, I didn't get that part. It said it has to be based on oinok and rotzen.
This is not seichel.
I understand, but it pertains to what? To this what you just explained. This for this person to go back, so to say, to the place like he never looked at this matter, and now look at it and be able to determine what's where. So that has to be based on oinok and rotzen. That's what you say?
Yeah. Based on the reality of human life.
Which he definitely has, because he's a mature person.
He's a mature person, exactly.
Rabbi Paltiel?
Yeah.
We're obviously having some difficulty understanding this. The mushal. The Rebbe is choosing to give us a mushal to understand the inflow of tzimtzum. But the mushal itself we have difficulty understanding. Why did he choose to give us this mushal? I guess that's a good mushal. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we don't have this. It's hard to relate to this that we're describing here.
But mashpia, even this thing, the mashal as I translated to.
Even that, yeah, sure. I mean,
well, let me say this. And absolutely present company excluded. You're not going to try to teach the value of real estate to a cat. If we have a difficulty understanding this muscle, this is only due to the fact that our human qualities have not been tapped. You shouldn't have a difficulty understanding this. We have been thinking on a level that is less than our capacity. And therefore,
you said before, present company excluded or included. I didn't get that.
And therefore, these mishalim, if in fact they are challenging, this is the means by which we bring out. If we speak to a human being and we say, look, these are human values, and he doesn't understand them. How is he react to them? To that.
He recognizes he doesn't. He wants to understand.
He wants to understand it. That gives him an impetus that puts a fire on it. Hey, what is it about? You're right. Mishalim are given from real life, from real world, and not all of us have had real experiences. I mean, we live in a really stripped down and a two-dimensional secular world. We are talking deprived of it. But we have it. AyinBase I said the union. We absolutely have it. And this is one of the principles what the Torah Chassidus makes us first human, and tells us what a human being is supposed to know. Remember that quote? Derech Eretz Kodmul HaTorah? It's a quote in the Gemara. Derech Eretz Kodmul HaTorah precedes Torah. How is Derech Eretz Kodmul HaTorah? Because without Derech Eretz you cannot understand Torah. Not that you don't understand Torah. You can understand the logic and all that, but you don't really appreciate, you don't really get the depth of it. This is what these Mishalim are about. All right. I think that we absolutely reached our target time, so to speak. Oh,
yeah.